So let's end on something light here. I wanted to talk about your music career briefly. So
Right
so kind of give me the summary of that. If you win, are you going to play at your own party?
I do occasionally DJ campaign events, both for our own campaign and others. But I came up as a hip hop MC in Chicago in the 90s. I caught the very tail end of the original house music wave, boom, if you will. And I saw in the house music community a black, brown, white, rainbow coalition of people who on the dance floor, we were just all together, sweaty and smiley. And it was a togetherness that frankly it's been described in some tracks like Eddie Amador's house music as a spiritual thing, a body thing. It is a soul thing. And house music to me has been very resonant. The opportunities I've had to play music at places like, for instance, Black Rock City, where Burning Man happens, and festivals around the country have been, for me, very mind-opening and life-expanding opportunities. I've learned a lot in those spaces. I've met a ton of people in those spaces from lots of different places, with lots of different kinds of faces. And I see how much people are people across the various life experiences and places that we come from. I released my first CD in 2007. It's called Get Out of Your Chair. And most of the tracks on it I wrote in 2003 and 2004 for a series of different protests. So I've got a funk song about the role and relationship between consumerism and militarism and climate change. That's called Bumpin' in My SUV. I've got a blues song about the war called the Baghdad Blues. And some of my latest tracks include Ferguson to Jerusalem. That's a tech house track that explains the interconnections among police violence scandals in different countries and the way that our supposed military aid helps blow back weapons onto US streets in the hands of paramilitary police and their relationship to human rights. I've also got a track soon to come out called Justice that riffs on poverty and homelessness and militarism. Maybe one I'd shout out, I have a music video for a track I wrote after the Snowden revelations called NSA versus USA, which is basically like a house music and hip hop history lesson about the recurring violations of constitutional rights under administrations led both by Democrats and Republicans. To answer your question in a different way, and to bridge it to the one before, you were talking about how I've had the fortune of using my law degree in a way that helps people rather than undermine them. I've tried to do the same thing with my music. I think of my music as documentary poetry, and I'm aiming essentially to help speak truth to power in all of the different forums that I have access to. And as a DJ, MC, singer, songwriter, and music producer, those are just additional arrows in my quiver.
All right. So
can I share one other thing there, if I may?
Yeah, go ahead.
It didn't directly come up, but just on the intersection of these things, I also try to leverage art as a community organizer. And I haven't had a chance to talk about this in interviews. So, just to put this on the table, some of my earliest and the work of which I'm most proud are organizing spoken word poets and hip hop artists to reclaim public space. We started doing that when I was at Stanford. I co-founded the Stanford Spoken Word Collective, which is now in its 17th year.
Oh, cool.
I co-founded a gathering that happens every Thursday night here in San Francisco above the Transit Plaza at 16th and Mission, and that's gone on every week for the last 16 years. And then I founded a group in Washington called the DC Guerrilla Poetry Insurgency, and this effort to bring together people around art and to use public performance as a way to bring people together and share the perspectives that oftentimes our corporate media refuses to share. I thought about that as almost, in fact, I have a rhyme about fighting the structure by building a people's culture. And that's what guerrilla poetry is to me. And that's where my heart as an artist is using poetry to inspire and to inform.
All right.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your